Now out in cinemas is the long-awaited sequel to Gladiator, the film that put Ridley Scott back at the top as a director. The film was a huge success back in 2000 with audiences and critics, making over $460 million worldwide, and became a massive hit on DVD. It also earned a number of Oscars, including one for Best Picture. Due to its success, there was talk of a sequel for years, but it was difficult to continue with Russell Crowe in the lead, as he dies at the end. Ideas were thrown around of maybe doing a prequel or a sequel that would focus on Lucius, who is seeking the truth behind his biological father. There were ideas about resurrecting Maximus, exploring Roman beliefs and the afterlife, going with a more fantasy direction which Crowe favoured, and Ridley Scott wanted to explore more the corruption of Rome. Come 2006, musician Nick Cave was oddly commissioned to write a new draft of the script. It was later revealed to be written under the working title of Christ Killer. The story involved Maximus in purgatory, who is resurrected as an immortal warrior for the Roman gods. Maximus is sent back to Earth and tasked with ending Christianity by killing Jesus and his disciples. It's completely mental. Go Google it, it's worth looking into. The script was obviously rejected. As Ridley went on to make many other movies as the guy is a machine, their various scripts for Gladiator II would be revised, and come September of 2021, Scott stated that the script was once again being worked on, with his intention being to direct the sequel upon the completion of production on Napoleon. It was revealed that David Scarpa, who worked with Scott on Napoleon, was rewriting the script with the idea of Lucius as the survivor of the original film, and after Commodus's death there was a scramble for the throne, and out of that eventually came a man who became the father of the two princes who were dysfunctional and mad, and this is where the story would begin. So for the plot, it's set over 20 years after the death of Maximus. The son of Lucilla, Lucius, was forced to leave Rome as a child and now lives as a farmer with his wife in Numidia, under the name Hanno. The Roman army, led by General Marcus Acacius, invades the city from the sea. During the battle, Lucius's wife is killed and he is taken into slavery. Hanno is then thrown into a small arena to battle against these mutated baboons. The arms dealer Macrinus is impressed with Hanno's skills and buys him to train him as a gladiator. After a series of vicious training sessions, Hanno, aka Lucius, becomes a gladiator in the Colosseum and quickly builds a following in Rome. Gladiator II has some big problems in my opinion, but before we get to my issues, let's chat about what I enjoyed about the film. Firstly, as you come to expect from Ridley Scott, the film looks stunning. The guy is pushing 90 and is still the master of capturing the magic. The visual effects are certainly very impressive. Seeing old Rome looks incredible, and the performances from the main cast are mostly fantastic. Denzel Washington is on top form as Macrinus, who is clearly having a blast playing this former slave who over the years earned extreme wealth and is attempting to buy his way into power in Rome. Joseph Quinn is superb as one of the emperors as Geta. We have Tim McInerney as a senator. Tim many people will know as Percy from Blackadder.
I'd like to see the Spaniard who could make his way past me.
Well, go to Spain, there are millions of them.
He turns in a great performance as his corrupt member of the Senate and gambling addict. These were the standout performances for me. Everyone else does a good job, but others feel wasted or phone it in. Pedro Pascal as the sympathetic general has little to do in the film. Connie Nielsen returns and seems to have forgotten how to act. There is a flashback scene with her and Lucius where she clearly needed to do another take, as her performance is pretty woeful. Paul Mescal is in fantastic shape and does look a lot like a young Richard Harris, who played Marcus Aurelius. But he seems stoned throughout the entire film, speaking slowly and tired half the time, with his attempts to channel Russell Crowe. The one scene that really impressed me with his performance was when he reads out a poem after a fight in front of Geta, and the Emperor looks spooked, a great moment. During the first 20 minutes of the film, I just sat there thinking, I don't think I'm enjoying this, but let's give it a chance. And halfway into it, I was kind of shocked that they had just recycled the plot from the first film. Lucius is captured, he goes into slavery, he is forced to fight, he is super strong and impresses Denzel's character, who is basically Oliver Reed.
You sold me queer giraffes.
But has different plans outside of offering up gladiators. Lucius goes to the Colosseum and wows the masses and gains popularity. It's all the same, but also missing the emotional punch of the original. Instead of having one loopy emperor, we have two, who act very much like Caligula. After the past 20 years, the film doesn't really explore what's been really going on. We are told the emperors aren't popular, they have ruined Rome, you see parts of Rome in need of repair, but they don't explain how they came into power after Commodus. They may have dropped some dialogue here and there about it, and I wasn't listening as I was probably stuffing my face with popcorn out of boredom, but I don't recall any meaty backstory. Once it gets to the last part of the movie, this is where it gets more interesting, as it shifts to more of the politics and double-crossing. Just seeing battles in the Colosseum, which are spectacular, but it begins to get very repetitive, and having some drama thrown in is where its strengths lie. But it starts to rush to the end once Macronus gets his foot in the door at the Senate. Sequels are generally supposed to be bigger and grander, especially dealing with a subject matter like this, but strangely it feels smaller than the first film, which gave you this grand epic tale of revenge. The sequel, outside of the opening battle at sea, and the use of digital map paintings to extend the city of Rome, and the over-the-top battles in the Colosseum, strangely feels small. Lots of medium and close-up shots throughout, giving this enclosed feeling to the film. Perhaps this was done to hide the small sets. Once we get to Rome, it sticks to a few limited locations, so a bit of a step back in its grandness. Composer Harry Gregson Williams takes over as the composer and makes use of the themes from Hans Zimmer's original iconic score, which sequels should always do to keep continuity. Marvel Studios should take note of that. Sadly, most of Harry's new work is forgettable and doesn't grab your attention. It sounded very by the numbers, and your ears only perk up and take notice once he calls upon the use of Zimmer's old material. I was expecting big things from Harry, but nothing left me impressed in wanting to hear the score by itself. It's not awful by any means, but doesn't leave the impact Zimmer did all those years ago. I suppose it was nearly an impossible task to create something else that would leave its mark on the film's musical landscape. After nearly 20 plus years, all they could do was churn out the same story with some extra bits tacked on. They play it so safe and don't take any risks outside of it being a tad more gory. I suppose this was always the mentality of sequels back in the day, give audiences more of the same. Sure, you can't have a Gladiator film without big epic battles in the Colosseum, but at least make Lucius's journey there completely different, so it's not just a carbon copy of Maximus's. I do have a sense the film was cut way down to fit a theatrical runtime, and perhaps a better version will come out with an extended cut, because as it stands, it's a big letdown for me. The trailers showcased a movie that seemed to be following the original film beat for beat with its story, but I was hoping it would offer something different to make this sequel worthwhile. Ultimately, what we are given is a cynical cash grab on the popularity of the original and struggles to offer anything new. If the original didn't exist, then this film could stand on its own and it would be fine, but it's a sequel. It's a high quality production and doesn't look cheap, and there's a lot of talent on and behind the camera, but the script really needed more work, and I don't know why they felt this was the right direction. Surely they would have known people would have complained or raised an issue with it. So overall, a disappointing sequel that looks incredible, but fails to do anything different. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to click the like button and hit the bell to be notified of my latest reviews. Big thanks to my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel. If you want to get involved and gain access to exclusive videos and take part in Q&As, follow the link below.